Okay. Now, can you tell us about the day of the Boston Marathon?
Um,
How your day started and how it ended?
okay. Well, that day was kind of just like any other event that we go to. We wake up very early. We travel to where the start line is or where the finish line is, depending on what event it was. But for Boston, it's more premier athletes, so we're stationed at the finish line, and we got there. We all ate breakfast. We were briefed by one of the head of the medical personnel prior to it, and I distinctly remember him saying, it won't be like last year, because the previous year the temperatures were extremely high, so there was a ton of dehydration, and I think a record number of people were seen by the medical tent, so they were constantly busy, and everyone really played a vital role in helping those athletes. So I remember thinking, like, yes, I'll get to watch some of the race because it won't be that busy, because it was a beautiful day that day. But when we got there, we were all split within the medical tent. Various specialties were split within it. So let's say there were like 20 units. Each unit had a podiatrist, maybe a physical therapist, a nurse was stationed there. So we were split throughout the tent that way until the explosion.
Okay. And what went through your mind when you heard the explosion outside?
I'd say initially I really didn't know what it was. I was talking to one of the fourth years who was there, Aaron Hare, and I remember asking him a question about, when do we give an IV, how much dehydration, and different things of that nature, and it kind of just interrupted our conversation, and we both just looked at each other, and the whole tent pretty much went quiet. And then to me, what feels like maybe 10-15 seconds afterwards, we heard a second boom, and then that's when the reality kind of set in that something serious was going on.
Did you feel at any point that your life was endangered, that the next explosion could be coming at the medical tent?
The first time I felt like this might be my last day was, if we can fast forward like maybe a minute later, somehow I really don't know. I ended up where Aaron and I were stationed was towards the middle of the tent, and somewhere after the second explosion we had migrated towards the front where Dr. Paul Marchuk and one of the other students, Jared, were stationed towards the front, and that's when I started to see people come in bloody, and the smell of gunpowder was everywhere, and there was smoke, and that's when I maybe took a second and was just like, took a second to pray and just say I hope there's not another one, or that's when I really started to consider that might be my last day.
And how has this tragedy affected your life? Did you get flashbacks or nightmares of that day?
I said when I came back, when I finally got back to Philly, it was still like a restlessness. After the explosion took place and after we kind of ran out of Boston, we walked, I think it was 3 miles, I'm not really sure. We walked from Boston back to Harvard's campus, which was where our hotel was, and pretty much just got in the car and just tried to get out as soon as possible to get home. But after getting home, it kind of still felt like I should still be moving. I felt like maybe I wasn't safe sitting where I was, and it kind of took about a week to feel at ease just being at home, or you know what I mean, or if I heard a loud noise it would make me jump or flinch, or it just was kind of an uneasy feeling. But I think as the whole case of who did it and why, and maybe not why, but at least we had people identified, that kind of put me at ease, to know that was kind of coming to some sort of conclusion. And also we had some counseling here that definitely helped, just to kind of as an outlet, and a couple of students wrote about their experience, and it helped me to read theirs, and then I in turn wrote my own and sent it to my close family and friends, just to kind of as an outlet, because I definitely didn't expect that day for any trauma experience, especially to at that level. It was definitely, you really can't prepare for that.